What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. For those of you who've been listening for a while, you know I'm kind of chronologically going through the Bally Bingos that were produced between 1951 and 1980. Tonight I'm cheating a little bit, and I'm combining 4 bingos into one episode. And that's because there are very few differences between these games. Tonight I'm talking about Barrel of Fun 61 and 62 and Fun Spot 61 and 62. Let's start with Barrel of Fun. Barrel of Fun, just like Fun Spot actually, is a bingo pinball machine, and those are typically multi-coin pinball machines. You come up, you put in a single coin, and then that will start your default game. In Barrel of Fun and Fun Spot's case, a single coin will actually light all of the cards on the bingo backglass. These are 6-card machines, and typically you had to insert 6 coins in order to light, or more, in order to light all 6 cards. Well, in these machines' case, they were made to skirt restrictions on these machines in certain territories. Jeffrey Lawton, in his excellent Bally Bingo Pinball Machines book, calls these the Ohio Dime games, and that's because they were popular in that area at the time. So, if it gives you the whole game with a single coin, surely it must be pretty easy to win. Well, that may be the case. And to win on a bingo pinball machine, what you have to do is get 3, 4, or 5 in a row on any card, and then you win. What you win on a standard bingo pinball machine is replays. And not just a piddling 1 or 2 replays. You can earn anywhere from 4 to hundreds or even thousands of replays. But in Barrel of Fun 61 and 62, you earn points. What can the points be used for? Certainly not gambling. They're points. Just like on any other pinball machine. How dare you think of that? That's insanity. Well, there is another option, and that is to push the button on the front door to start a new game with a single button press. But when you do this, it doesn't light all 6 cards. Instead, you have to press the button 5 more times in order to light all 6 cards. And as you press this button, your score goes down 6 steps. So therefore, what you could, in fact, use that score for was for gambling. Because you could say, oh, you reached 80,000 points or whatever that is. You know, I'll pay you $2 for that or whatever that may be. In this way, you could operate a bingo in a territory where it was technically illegal to do so, and because you earned score and not replays, it skirted the law enough that you could do this. Now, that's about the extent of my knowledge about the Ohio Dime games. It's really just a base understanding, and I'd certainly love to hear more about these, especially from operators that happened to work in that area at the time, because I think it's absolutely fascinating some of the stuff Bally did to try to stay ahead. The only other thing to say about Barrel of Fun 61 and 62 is that they used a new cabinet design, and this looks very similar to the Keeney bingos, actually, where there are these 60s antenna-style legs that come down from the bottom of the front of the cab. The back of the cab uses a picture frame style to mount the back glass, and that swings open so that you can service the innards of the bingo without having to pull the game away from the wall, which is pretty darn handy. So let's talk about FunSpot 61 and 62. Well, you remember everything I said about Barrel of Fun 61 and 62? It applies to FunSpot as well, but the difference is that FunSpot doesn't have that button on the front to play a new game. So as soon as you win replays, as soon as you win score, the game will actually start a new game automatically and fill in your 6 cards, ticking down your score 6 positions. The player has no control over how much of their score to wager. And therefore, if I had to decide between one or the other, I would probably pick Barrel of Fun. But FunSpot is interesting from a novelty factor. Since it played for you, this means that there was some other kind of restriction or regulation that they were getting around that I can't even begin to fathom, because in what circumstance would you want someone walking by seeing a new free game starting when the winning of free games is illegal? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I guess not having a button makes it slightly less visible or less noticeable by law enforcement. So, let's talk about artwork. The cabinet is very, very plain, as I mentioned. I will put a link to the flyer in the show notes and show you what I'm talking about there. But the Backglass is fairly attractive. Most of these fun games, the games with fun in the title, which are Ohio Dime games, are very attractive. They used many bright colors in order to attract players. All of them have a carnival theme, and this is no exception. Now, the only crying shame of this is that they used the exact same artwork for Barrel of Fun 61 and 62. 62, they just reran the game. Apparently, they had enough demand after they finished running 61 that they went ahead and did another run in 62. So, the artwork on the Backglass is a woman exiting what appears to be a barrel. And on the barrel you have some of the score written, and she's holding in her hand a balloon. This balloon appears to be attacking her or just floating menacingly near her. I'm not sure what exactly this is attempting to represent in the illustration, but it doesn't quite work for me when I see it. I do think that the colors used are attractive. I just think that the position of that balloon is a little odd for her exiting kind of a funhouse barrel, which is probably spinning. And then you have a close-up of the woman in the right-hand side. And a carousel and some other state fair-esque things in the background, or carnival-esque things. And below that you have your 6 cards. The playfield has 4 women hanging out in the bottom third of this playfield. And up above, you have scenes from the carnival in the backdrop. You got a roller coaster and Ferris wheel and various flags and other booths and things. Again, I like the art for all these games, and I think it is generally very good. I will say that I think this is the weakest of the art packages for these fun Ohio Dime games. Well, that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me and allowing me to cheat and wrap 4 bingos into 1. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.